The New Mexico Foundation for Open Government says that Governor Martinez's office needs to turn over public documents from a hunting trip taken by First Gentleman Chuck Franco, that would be her husband. The pro-transparency group is asking for the same material requested by several news outlets, including overtime pay records and travel expenses for police officers assigned to Franco's detail. And they've hinted at a possible legal battle to get the documents if they don't come. Now, Jim, you've looked into this. Freedom for Open Government says the Supreme Court has already weighed in on a case like this, and the governor's excuse for holding the documents, which is security. Let's start there. It doesn't hold water. Tell us what they're riffing off of, a certain Texas thing they're going off of here with the security thing. Let's see if this works.
Well, to back up, I mean, they've, for a long time, for many administrations, records have been allowed to be denied to inspection of public records requests based on this so-called rule of reason test, that there might be a countervailing public policy interest that would basically be more important to the government to keep something private than to make it public. That had been the reasoning to not release such records, and I mean a wide variety of records.
Sure.
But I mean, security became that countervailing public policy interest on these kind of denials, and it really, I mean, Bill Richardson's administration gave us the same explanation. Governor Martinez's administration has said that consistently. But then in 2012, the Supreme Court basically said that countervailing public policy approach can't stand, and it throws out the security the security exemption in essence, and it says if you want to protect public records, you need to have something supporting why it needs to be withheld, be it an exemption to IPRA, case law in another Supreme Court case, or regulation. You can't just kind of fly by the seat of your pants, so to speak. So the scenery has changed.
Yeah.
Fogg and the Attorney General's office believe that this change means that such records need to be made public.
Yeah. Laura, it's interesting, again, as we talked about in the previous segment with Mylan, how names started coming out. It was important to find out who the officers were so you can establish the trail of the receipts and all that kind of thing. And that's out there. We have that now. We know who these folks are. But we still don't know why this trip was taken. Is it important for us to know why this trip was taken at just a fundamental basis?
Well, I think it's the fact that they're not forthcoming with it that raises the questions. It's the fact that they're not open about it, and they haven't agreed to make certain documents public that raises the question of why not? What do you have to hide? So I think there's more there in the unknown than if they just came out with it. It may not be that big of a deal, but it's not an unusual request. I mean, these things were requested of Bill Richardson's office also. And this governor ran on a transparency, platform. I think a lot of the stump speeches were criticisms of the Richardson administration and how the Richardson administration had done business as usual and not transparent. And now we're seeing the same things happening here. So I think there needs to be a little more walking the talk in this case.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that we're not talking about a heck of a whole lot of money here.
Okay.
I mean, from what Steve Terrell was able to glean from the Santa Fe New Mexican, we're talking about $5,000. But whether it's $5,000 or $5 million, it's still the public's money, and they need to be able to account for that.
Let me ask you this: what do you make of the idea that, as Laura said, they could have cleared this up earlier? Yeah. And in the void, it's become politicized.
Yeah. Well, I think that from a political standpoint, if you're looking at it strictly from a political standpoint, they have mishandled this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The other thing too, though, is their defense that this is about security is based on something that Governor Rick Perry over in Texas has. They've blocked things on similar levels, saying that the security detail, if you release all this information, you'll be able to. A bad person will be able to determine the pattern of the security. But to me, I don't think you don't have to be Solomon to figure out that maybe there's a way to get through this, like by blacking out some things about, if there's a certain hotel in a certain area, then you black that out. But let's just take a look at the money. I don't think they spent $5 million on strippers, but we do need to figure out what this is. And what's good for the goose is what's good
That's
for
right.
the gander.
That's right. And interestingly, Mylan, from what Rob's saying, there are certain expenses and things you don't have to report if it's not official business. And this is the crux of the matter. Some folks are saying, well, it smells like official business because there's interests in Louisiana who have interests in the Downs, who have interests in other New Mexican things. And folks just want to know who was this person with all this largesse that paid for all the meals for the first governor and all for the security detail. Is that a reasonable thing to be chasing down at this point?
Of course, it's reasonable, and beyond that, anytime you travel on the public's money, the request is legitimate.
Okay.
Any public person who does that. But this is not just Susana Martinez not doing what she said she was going to do. You look to the Attorney General's office, which is supposed to be the referee in these things, and it has stopped lots of legitimate records requests if they are politically embarrassing. I don't know that this one is, because when you're at bay, you don't know.
Right.
We don't know exactly what's there. But security to go on a hunting trip, I mean, the public ought to know, what were the costs? Why was this done? And I don't know Chuck Franco. I know of him, but he was an undersheriff in Doña Ana County. He works security now in a courthouse. Does he really need security if he goes hunting? I mean,
Right. Ostensibly with somebody that knows the area. It's not as if he's going to some faraway land where he doesn't know anybody. That's for sure. You know, James mentioned earlier that this goes back to the Richardson administration, certainly. Again, your reporter's sense of this and the idea in the overall, Rob, I want you to get onto this too, the idea of IPRA requests and them being either honored or not. Are we going backwards here? Because this seems to be coming up more and more, that IPRA becomes, well, we might do it for these, we might not do it for some others.
it's always a battle. Every time I'm involved in one of them, it's never easy. And I don't know if my colleagues have had the same experience, but no matter how innocuous the request seems to be, it's a battle.
Interesting.
To
Please.
chime in on that, I agree. Many innocuous requests are a battle, but at the same time, one thing that I found frustrating in reporting about on the administration is that when there's a document that supports their point of view, that supports the argument that they're they're laying out to help
Right.
understand how any given situation happened, that document shows up very fast.
Interesting.
And that can be frustrating.
Yeah. Interesting.
And
Rob, please.
what you see a lot of times is, and not just in the state of New Mexico, but also on the federal level, is that this wide umbrella of security gives people enough cover for them to deny things. But it's not, it's not just the executive. I mean, Jim and Mylan and I covered the legislature this past year, where the legislature said, with many Democrats who've hammered the governor on things like this.
That's right.
They went out and wrote out their own, carved out their own exception
Right.
to IPRA requests because they think that they're a special case. So it's something that cuts across both political parties.
It's somewhat esoteric, for the layperson, not to say it's all that difficult to grasp. It's not, certainly. However, I agree with you guys in the overall sense that any one denial is a denial of a lot of different things if you think about it, if you can't trust what's being put out there.